The weather was wonderful when we visited 4 islands in Hawaii on a Your Man tour in early 1998. We will preview our video with a narrated sequence of more than 100 photos. Hawaiian music by the Living Strings is in the background. Our first musical entertainment in Oahu was at the Kodak Hula Show. The free show is staged at Kapiolani Park, which was near our hotel. Ladies in the Glee Club play guitars and sing for the dancers. This famous show has been presented for more than 60 years, and it includes the dance styles of several Polynesian islands. The beach at Waikiki is one of the most famous in the world. Huge banyan trees also are an attraction in the islands. We took a boat to the Arizona Memorial in Pearl Harbor. The names of men killed in the 1941 attack are shown on this wall. A palace and government buildings were seen in downtown Honolulu. Our bus tour also made a stop for scenic views from the Pali Lookout. This carved statue was one of many seen on our journeys. Beautiful ladies, large and small, are seen along the beach, and it must be a profit center for makers of sunscreen lotion. The hotel, called the Pink Palace, was one of the first at Waikiki. An outrigger canoe team rowed out to sea for a practice run. A statue of Duke Kahanamoku is on the street nearby. Colorful tropical birds greeted us at a shopping center. And large carp swam in a pool created by a fountain. These bright-colored leaves were seen near our hotel. The red ginger plant is one of Hawaii's most beautiful. We enjoyed a canoe trip at the Polynesian Cultural Center, which replicates the villages of 7 island nations. Students from nearby Brigham Young University perform the rituals, dances, and the music of various islands on long canoes on a river that winds through the center. Some other Oahu residents also perform as musicians. All the performers join in a spectacular evening show at the Cultural Center's Big Pacific Theater. Flaming torches surround the dancers here. The show offers a music of various cultures, and dancers keep their grass skirts in rapid motion. We were amazed by dancers who played with fire and never seemed to get burned by twirling batons. Another ginger flower was admired on the Big Island when our bus from the airport stopped at Rainbow Falls. These carp were in a stream by our Hilo Seaside Hotel. A cozy little bay was close to a hotel, which was on the famous Banyan Tree Drive. Famous people began planting trees here in the 1930s. We walked a few blocks to see Coconut Island, which is close to the charming Liliuokalani Gardens. The ocean battered the rocks along the coast, and this tree lifted its leafy arms toward the sun. Sunset on the islands is always an inspiring sight. A bus tour took us to Hilo's Orchid Gardens. where we also saw beautiful hibiscus blooms and the brilliant bird of paradise flowers. Our tour group walked through a large lava tunnel at the Volcano National Park on the Big Island. It is growing continually from more lava flows. This overlook is at the Kilauea crater. Rivers of lava flow down the mountain during eruptions. This beach is famous for its black sand and huge sea tortoises that slumber on the shore. Ducks on the beach kept a wary eye on us. Beautiful coleus was seen as we traveled on. These ladies greeted us at the Kona Coffee Factory, where our tour group learned all about coffee growing. White coral contrasts with lava rocks at Kailua Kona, where more floral beauty was seen everywhere. Our camera also focused on this pretty bird. This beach is close to the King Kamehameha Hotel. Trophies from fishing tournaments were on display. This historic temple was near our hotel at Kailua. More colorful flowers brightened our pathways. Large lava rocks were scattered along the shore, where palm trees silhouetted the boats at sea. A 100-year-old shrine was made entirely of coral. People also wrote their names with coral along the road. This is a garden area at the Parker Ranch home. We boarded this boat for Captain Bean's dinner cruise, where we were entertained by music and dancers, and that included some of our group wearing coconut bras. Another sunset decorated the sky on the Big Island. Our next flight went to the garden island of Kauai, where we went first to the famous Fern Grotto. A roadside stop was made to enjoy this wonderful view of a valley. Local products were displayed at a guava plantation, which also had a walking trail through a garden. This bird of paradise seems to be in full flight. Our camera also captured a flaming anthurium. We ate too much and were entertained at a luau by attractive singers and dancers like these. A sunrise decorated the sky for early risers. Water spouted high at a blowhole by the sea. The Kauai Sands Hotel beach was also good for snorkeling. And here we are, your videographers, Bob and Ruth. There was plenty of big surf during our tour, and we saw young hula dancers at the Coconut Marketplace. Then enjoyed another evening walk on the beach. The subjects of this carving had a fishy look. A Japanese temple was on the road at Hanapepe, but we were not able to translate this message. The Waimea Canyon offers colors etched in rock and is called the Grand Canyon of Hawaii. We walked by the towering palms to a shopping center where one of the stores displayed Russian nesting dolls. Our first tour in Maui was to the Io Valley. A model mill also was seen at a sugar museum. We saw Hawaii's largest banyan tree at Lahaina. Boats line up along the dock in this area, and many wooden statues like this are seen. And some hotels have picture-perfect landscaping. Hilo Hattie's was a favorite shopping place for aloha shirts and skirts. This scene was from our hotel window at Kahului. More flowers were seen on a walk to rent a car. We found this old church on the road to Hana and watched the windsurfers at Huukipa Beach. Championship tournaments are held in this area where surfers muscle their boards over high waves. Local boys built these rock sculptures near Wailea. Makina Beach is a great swimming and family place. We admired more coleus at a little square by a market where people idled in the sunshine. We looked again at the mountains behind Kahului and treasure a view of the ocean swallowing the sun. We took a time machine back into history and witnessed progress in Eastern Europe in July 1998. We also made 35 new friends on a Vantage tour group that visited Budapest, Vienna, and Prague. Our travelogue begins with more than 100 photos in areas that were rich with castles, palaces, museums, and cathedrals. 3 cities were merged in 1873 into what is now Budapest. The Houses of Parliament overlook the Danube River in the Pest section. This statue is at the Citadel on Castle Hill in the Buda section. Dominating the view on this historic hill is St. Matthias Church, which is named for one of Hungary's favorite medieval kings. Fisherman's Bastion stretches along the hill near the church, and we got a view of Parliament and the Danube through its arches, and built up our leg muscles climbing this handsome tower. The zoo is among the attractions at the big city park. Heroes Square is a large open plaza where the statuary honors famous Hungarian leaders of the past millennium. We also wondered if some of their horses were famous. This is King Matthias, for whom the church is named. Some of our group played along with gypsy musicians at a show that featured lively music and dancing. The dome at St. Stephen's Cathedral is 315 feet high. This is the city's largest church, and it can hold more than 8,000 people at worship services there. Aquincum was a provincial capital when the Romans ruled Hungary, and these ruins and artifacts are preserved and displayed there. This large synagogue also was visited on our journey. The Parliament buildings were seen again on a Danube cruise. The Liberty Bridge is one of 4 that span the river. The chain bridge was the first to connect Buda and Pest 150 years ago, and it glows at night. We walked across and saw a stone lion guarding the bridge, but it never growls. Jazz and other music was heard along a busy walking street. Hungarians are famous for their horsemanship, and we admired their skills at a show in the countryside. Men and their horses seem to share a common language. The town of Szentendre has cobblestone streets and many arts and craft shops to tempt the tourists. Fields of beautiful sunflowers are everywhere in Hungary, and they provide a major source of cooking oil. A train for Budapest took us into Austria and to Vienna. Our first stop was at the towering City Hall building, where we had lunch in the Rathaus Keller restaurant. Beautiful gardens enhance the Schönbrunn Palace, where colorful paintings are seen on ceilings, and golden decorations adorn chandeliers and walls. Horses pull carriages to take visitors on tours. St. Stephen's Cathedral reaches toward the sky, and we viewed its towers by day and by night. Sculptures and paintings like this are seen inside. We walked to a museum in the Hofburg Palace complex and saw the imperial crown and other treasures. Many statues were displayed along the streets, including this young lady who posed for our picture. City Hall looms behind the Parliament building, where statues surround a fountain at the entrance. The Vienna State Opera was on vacation in July, so we took a special tour to see the interior. Another tour took us to the town of Melk and its magnificent abbey, seen in this model display. This is a view of the main altar in the abbey. A Danube Valley cruise was next on our agenda. Historic castles were seen often along the way, rising above hillsides terraced to grow crops. Our final stop was at the village of Dürnstein, where a church tower looked like fine porcelain. Castle ruins are seen behind an unusual round house. Music from a Mozart concert is in the background here. The Parliament building is like a jewel at night. Shop windows displayed appealing dolls and crafts. This building was painted red while being restored, and one apartment house wall had the paintings of cats. Another nearby had gold filigree decorations. The Belvedere Palace is one of Austria's finest. This skylight was above our Hilton Hotel lobby. The sun set on our Vienna tour with this view from our room. A bus took us through Austria and the Czech Republic to Prague. Flags of many nations were flown outside our hotel. A lunch stop was made at the charming town of Trabant. The writing and hands on a Hebrew clock both run backwards. More than 12,000 gravestones are in the old Jewish cemetery. The famous Charles Bridge was built in the 14th century and has been reserved for pedestrians only since 1950. Beautiful art is seen on many buildings in Prague. Several wide walking streets join at the Old Town Square, where the astronomical clock puts on a show every hour. The costume performers here are advertising a play. Another major landmark is a tall powder tower. This mural is on the tower of a large concert hall. Our group toured the castle at Hradčany Square, and this fountain had several sculpture figures. Unusual art included this skull on a man. The stained glass windows here are unique in colors and designs, and the decorative railing also was very impressive. A hilltop view shows the towers and bridges of Prague. A wooden eave offered us an apple at dinner time. 2 hilltop castles were reached by horse-drawn wagons. We rode through the picturesque streets of Karlstein, where the castle was perched high above the town. Here's a closer look at the castle towers. We always found gift shops at castles, of course. The next visit was to Konopisti Castle, which is famous for displays of guns and armaments. Nearby, a boy was making friends with a tame falcon. A gorgeous sunset brought our time in Prague to an end. Here we are, Ruth and Bob, wishing you many more wonderful journeys. The video now will capture the action of our travel adventures. Tips, we'd love to see you on our travels somewhere again. An extension of our tour took us to Berlin, capital of reunited Germany since 1990. The city is rebuilding after 65 years of Nazi and communist regimes and being half destroyed in World War II. Here are 42 of our photos with some New Orleans jazz in the background. An all-day bus ride took us through the German countryside. And then we stopped for lunch near the main square at Dresden. This giant wall painting portrayed the city's history. Beautiful buildings and fountains were in this courtyard. This painting was seen in the Sophienkeller restaurant. We learned how porcelain was made in a tour at Meissen. These elegant creations were in the factory showroom. Here's another example of the art of porcelain. No figure seems too complex for these artisans. Our first stop in Berlin was at the famous Wall. A mile of it remains and is covered with art. From our hotel windows, we saw the Huguenot Church, a big concert hall in the center of a square, and the German church at the other end. These structures were on Unter den Linden Street, which goes through the famous Brandenburg Gate. Charlottenburg Palace was an imposing sight, with ornamented gates and a tall dome. The Kaiser Wilhelm Church rises by a skyscraper at a square in the center of West Berlin. Construction cranes are seen everywhere, and large water lines are above the ground in these areas. This monument is called the Siegessäule. We enjoyed an outing at the Tiergarten and music by David and Rosalind, who are from New Orleans. This sculpture symbolizes the reunification of Berlin. Beautiful gardens were seen at Sanssouci Park, at the carefully planned city of Potsdam. Gilded statues of musicians are seen at an elegant Chinese tea house in the park. The palace looms above terraced vineyards, and this view shows the park and fountain below. This church is at Museum Island in Berlin, where an amusement park also is nearby. The roller coaster was a popular ride, and iron sculptures adorned the castle bridge, which also displayed a series of statues. A mosaic of tiles was at a shopping mall underground. We viewed the German church from our hotel window, and the sunset as our tour of Berlin ended. We flew over icy Greenland on the way home and remembered our visit at Brandenburg Gate. Here is video action from our tour now.